everybody, Remrov here again. I'm a classic artist who makes these videos to educate about autism and to build a bridge in between the autistic and neurotypical world, and I hope to be a voice for non-verbal autistic people. In this video I want to talk more about hyperacusis. So what is hyperacusis? Hyperacusis is a hypersensitivity to sound. Like everyday sounds, normal sounds that most people can just ignore or tolerate, they can be extremely painful for people with hyperacusis. Almost everybody can get annoyed by certain sounds like an alarm or a siren from an ambulance, for example, or fingernails on a school board, or maybe even by the sound of other people eating. But if you don't have hyperacusis, then it's very difficult to imagine what kind of effect certain sounds can have on a person who has hyperacusis. Many autistic people have hyperacusis, including myself. It's kind of funny actually, because when I was little, my mom thought that I was deaf because often I didn't respond when she called my name. And so I had a hearing test done, and it turned out that my hearing was actually extremely well developed. And later in life I had another hearing test, and that lady was just blown away by the sounds I could still hear, by the high and low frequencies. High and low frequency sounds that I could still hear, that other people just couldn't hear at all. But because of this well-developed hearing of mine, and because I don't have a filter, sounds have always been a huge issue for me. And certain sounds can be just extremely painful for me. And they can be sounds that other people can also hear, but they can tolerate it, or they can just block it out. They can just filter it out. But they can also be sounds that other people don't even hear, and which can be extremely painful for me. And when sounds like that are so painful, it can have a huge effect on my well-being, of course, but also on my even on my physical health. I have an example. We live in an apartment building, and we live on the top floor, and right on top of our roof, right above our living room, there is a ventilation system, this huge machine with a ventilator in it. And it's there to cool down the spaces on the ground floor. And it used to be turned on automatically, but then it was only turned on like a few minutes every hour. And then it would turn off again. And that every time, those few minutes were just horrible for me, because that sound of the ventilator was just so low frequency, and it was extremely painful for my ears, and it just made me nauseous, and it would give me a headache. But a while ago, our landlord turned the machine on and let it run continuously, and he forgot to turn it off again. And so that sound just went on continuously for one whole day, and then a whole night, and then after that a part of the day. And I just couldn't function anymore. The sound of the ventilator itself, but also the vibrations it caused through the walls and through the ceiling. I developed a huge migraine. I started to get nauseous, and I just couldn't function anymore. It just drove me totally insane. Even went up to the roof to see if I could turn it off, but that wasn't possible, and I didn't really have the nerves to touch it. So I called the landlord, and I told him about it, and well, he said he was going to turn it off in a few hours. So I was so relieved once it was turned off, and I was so happy when it just felt like such a relief to be escaped from that sound again. I also have the same issues with a siren or of a fire truck, for example, or a smoke alarm, sounds like that, the siren of an ambulance, fire truck. But then I can just cover my ears and it only lasts a few seconds. So yeah, then I can deal with it. But sometimes if those sounds last longer, it just drives me insane, and I just want to, like, I put my hands over my ears always, and sometimes I just want to scream to try to block out that sound. It's just, yeah, really horrible for me. When it rains outside, all the sounds are amplified and they are even louder. So when it rains, I often prefer to stay at home because the world becomes so extremely chaotic for me because of all those loud sounds. So yeah, it's often just better for me to stay at home and to cancel certain things if I have planned anything, and yeah, just avoid all those sounds and the chaos. Like I said, many autistic people can have hyperacusis, but other people can also have hyperacusis. For example, people who had head or ear injuries or ear infections, or people who've had Lyme disease, they can also have hyperacusis actually, and or a viral infection of the ear or facial nerves like Bell's palsy, for example. As you can imagine, hyperacusis can have a huge effect on your well-being and on your quality of life, because you have to really take everything under consideration, and you have to like arrange your whole life around it, that you're not going to be exposed to sounds that are so extremely painful, like low frequency sounds. For example, like ventilating can really cause a migraine, and I have migraines quite often because of sounds. And really high frequency sounds, they can cause this toothache, just headaches and toothache. So it's just, you can't function in that way. So you have to keep avoiding it and just arrange your life in such a way to manage it. And of course, yeah, certain things that you would like to attend, like social events, you just have to, like, yeah, not go or wear earplugs or headphones. You often see autistic people actually walking around with headphones, big headphones or earplugs. They just, yeah, in that way they can manage it. I have a few pieces of advice. When you don't have hyperacusis, like I said, it's very difficult to imagine what kind of effect it can have on those sounds on a person who has hyperacusis. So it's better never to think that a person like that is overreacting, because that feels very horrible to a person who has hyperacusis. And like I said, earplugs can help for people with hyperacusis, headphones, arranging your life in a certain way. Just take everything into consideration, and yeah, and try to avoid those sounds, which is not nice, of course. To not go to certain social events or other events where we really love to go, and you have to avoid it. But it is a way to make everything manageable. So this was it. I hope you found it useful and that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just leave your question in the comments below or send me a message. Also, if you have any ideas for topics I should do a video about, just let me know. Well, Pilaf and I wish you a very happy day, and we hope you're gonna subscribe for our YouTube channel or consider to become our patron on our Patreon page to support me with this project. And you can also watch some patron-only material, which is quite cool. So we wish you a great day, and we hope to see you with our next videos again.